I was so mind blown because I knew right then and there that this was a dream from the Lord. And at the end of verse 10 in Psalm 90, it says, "We fly away." And immediately I thought rapture. Hello, brothers and sisters. First of all, I apologize if I'm looking a little rough right now. It is about 6 o'clock in the morning. I'm here today recording this video this morning because I just had a very interesting dream. And usually I'm gonna preface this by saying I'm very wary about talking about my dreams or sharing my dreams because, sometimes we can think that the dreams we have are from God or from the Lord, and sometimes in reality it could be the enemy trying to deceive us. But I woke up a few moments ago and I asked the Lord for discernment, and He even gave me a verse. So I read this verse and I was just in disbelief. So first of all, I'm going to tell you what the dream was about and what happened within the dream, and I'll read the verse, and I will ask anyone watching this right now to not take it, my dream or what I gathered from it, as "thus say the Lord." I want you to take it up with the Lord Himself, and I want you to read the scriptures, and I want you to discern for yourself as well. So in this dream I had just last night, it started off with I was in this house, and there were a group of people that were, I think, trying to break into the house. It was me and I think my family and a few other people, and they were trying to set fire to the house, and we had weapons with us, like guns, and we were fighting back by firing at them, these intruders. I think they were trying to rob us or something like that, and eventually they left, and I found myself gathered around a table, and we were all discussing what we were going to do about these people that tried to come and rob our home. And it occurred to me, I was in a very old house. Like, my aunt, before she passed away, God rest her soul, used to have this house directly across the street from my uncle's house. And I remember spending summers in that house, and I realized that that's the house I was in this dream. But it went forward a little bit more in the dream, and it was evident that there wasn't much in the house. Like, it didn't seem like we had a lot in this specific place. And then the dream changed scenes, and I found myself in sort of like an encampment of some sort, and there was there was this almost like a store, like a small store. I'm gonna tell you in a minute why I believe what kind of store it was, but there was a small store, and along the walls, the shelves area, like the shelves were like little snacks, um, crackers and things like that. Just, and then like in some areas there was like computer stuff, like technology, like computer screens. And on the other end of this shop were like a bunch of guitars and basses, and I can like remember seeing them so vividly. And I remember there was this, like, I want to say it was what do you call that? Oh yeah, I want to say it was like I saw this piano or this organ of some sort in this shop. So between the guitars and the piano, it just clicked in my head that I could be in some sort of music store. Well, first of all, I'm going to talk about this. I had some things on me. I had a backpack on me. And I had certain things that I was looking to barter with the quote unquote cashier, the guy behind the counter that had the stockpile of food on the shelves. And I had certain things with me, and I was taking that and asking, what can I get for this? And I was trading whatever I had for certain foods that were available. So it was like this barter system, and it was kind of odd to me when I woke up that I wasn't really using money in the dream, almost as if money wasn't useful in this scenario. So I was bartering, basically. I was trading certain things in order to get food. And I remember specifically, I had something with me, and I asked for like 2 boxes of crackers that were on this lower end of the shelf behind the counter. I remember just in the dream feeling like, oh yeah, I got 2 boxes of crackers. It's kind of a strange thing to think about, but I was like so like happy to have these boxes of crackers, almost like I hadn't eaten in so long. But anyway, I remember like making the trade, and I turned around to the person standing behind the counter, and they opened up my bag for me after I made the trade, and they put the 2 boxes of cracker in my bag. Maybe it was so no one else took them from me or saw that I had them and tried to take them from me in this encampment that was set up. And I do believe it took place in some sort of music store or place where there were instruments or something. I really don't know. But I remember very vividly sitting down and next to this piano or organ of some sort, and there was this girl who was sitting there just like playing. She was like, and I think it was an organ because there was like 2 levels on the piano of some sort. I'm not familiar with instruments or anything, but she was playing, and she was like playing this beautiful song, and I could remember it so vividly. And then cut to, it's like a little while later, I'm back in the house, the first house I was in, and we are frantically going around the house checking all the entrances to the house, making sure that they're locked, that they're secured, and things like that. And we hear some gunfire or commotion outside of the house, and we start to think that maybe the people that came to try to rob us are doing something else to somebody else, or maybe they're coming back to rob us again. So we just determined that it was just some commotion going on outside of the house. And I remember specifically hiding in like some place where I wouldn't be found in case they came back, because I think at this point we weren't armed with anything. So if they wanted to come back and basically either take from us or harm us, they pretty much could. And it was really terrifying in the dream. And then I woke up. It was pretty short, but I woke up, and the first thing I did was think to myself, well, that was kind of strange. I just want to make it very clear, I have received dreams from the enemy before, spiritual attacks in my sleep and things of that nature. So the first thing that came to my mind was this could be that, but I wanted to ask the Lord for discernment. And the first thing that came to my mind was food shortage, war and food shortage. That's what was coming to me in that moment, that there's going to be conflict between people, large groups of people, and there's going to be a food shortage, and money is not going to mean as much or hold as much value as it does right now. So I was not going to come on here and record this video until I got some sort of discernment or received some sort of confirmation from the Lord. And all of a sudden, it was the strangest thing. I woke up half asleep, still not really aware of what was going on. And I was asking the Lord, I was like, could you give me a verse or something? And all of a sudden in my heart, I promise you, I've never read this verse. I've never come across it. I didn't know that this verse contained this in it. But something spoke to me, and it said, Psalm 90, verse 5. So I go to Psalm 90, verse 5. And it's talking about, I think it's talking about like the Israelites in the wilderness and how they are going through some very difficult times, and how they're experiencing God's anger and everything else like that. But this is a very famous section in Psalm. I could have chosen any other book, any other chapter, any other verse. So I'm going to read Psalms 90 verse 5 to 10. Starting at verse 5, it says, "You carry them away like a flood. They are like asleep. In the morning they are like grass which grows up. In the morning it flourishes and grows up. It is cut down and withers. For we have been consumed by your anger, and by your wrath we are terrified. You have set our iniquities before you, our secret sins in the light of your countenance. For all our days have passed away in your wrath. We finish our years like a sigh. The days of our lives are 70 years, and if by reason of strength they are 80 years. Yet their boast is only labor and sorrow, for it is soon cut off, and we fly away." I'm just going to break that down. Basically, I put this into context already. Verse 5, "You carry them away like a flood." First thing that came to my mind was all the flooding that's still happening right now. France, Spain, Mexico, all these other places. You can look it up right now. It's getting bad. There's storms that are coming. Claudette in southern United States is ravaging certain territories, certain states, Alabama, Florida, even north in Chicago is being hit by tornadoes and things like that. And it goes on to say, "In the morning they are like grass which grows up. In the evening it is cut down and withers." So I'm like, it's cut down and it withers. In my mind, that's like the crops, especially with the drought in the West Coast right now, perhaps not growing up as they should and maybe withering away. And it says we have been consumed by your anger. And this is what I talked about in previous videos, the wrath of God being poured out on the earth. And the Bible does talk about pestilences and famines and wars and rumors of wars. I think the famine is really about to kick off in a really terrible way and affect a lot of people. And it's going to cause this food shortage. But that's just my speculation. This is not "thus say the Lord." So please take it up with the Lord himself. Then it goes on to verses 9 and 10, which talks about the length of a generation. Now, I have heard of this before through people talking about like the eschaton and everything. Israel became a nation in 1948. And people always say, you know, if you take 1948 and you add 80 years from it, you get 2028. And because of the Great Tribulation, you subtract 7 years, you get 2021, which is why a lot of people believe that the rapture will take place this year. I'm not saying that. This is not "thus saith the Lord," but that's what a lot of people believe. In verse 10, Psalm 90, it says, "The days of our lives are 70 years, and if by reason of strength they are 80 years. So I was mind blown just thinking about that, because the Lord knew that if I read that, I would automatically connect it back to the speculations that the rapture will take place soon. I would automatically connect it back to the idea that the rapture is coming. So I thank God for that. And then at the end of verse 10, it says, "For it is soon cut off," which means their lives are soon cut off, "and we fly away." This is the New King James Version. I know in other translations it just means we are put to rest, we go to sleep, or we go to be with the Lord. However you want to look at that. And I was so mind blown, because I knew right then and there that this was a dream from the Lord. He's saying that things for, I'm like I said, take it up with him, but this is what I was able to interpret from the dream, that our time is short and that there's going to be a food shortage in the future. And I don't know if the saints, I don't know if believers, people that believe in the sacrifice that Christ made on the cross, I don't know if we're going to be here to experience that when it happens. But is something that I was just automatically thinking about. I'm like, it's about to get serious right now. I'm not saying this is thus saith the Lord, but like the Spirit was showing me through these things I was reading that things are about to get serious down here on earth for a lot of people, and a lot of hardship is coming. And at the end of verse 10 in Psalm 90, it says, we fly away. And immediately I thought rapture. So I was like, Lord, I'm not entirely sure what this means, but I feel compelled to share it today, share it this morning. So, I mean, praise God for that. The dream I had was so vivid, you know. I don't always get vivid dreams like that, but I think it was almost like a warning as to what's to come. So I want you to take what you've heard up with the Lord yourself, and I want you to pray about it. Maybe ask him for a verse. Maybe go through and read Psalm 90 for yourself and Google the context of it. And you know, just pray, because everything in my spirit right now is telling me that time for most of us that have been watching and waiting for the Lord, that our time is very short before we fly away. So that's just what I wanted to share with you this morning. Thank you for sticking through this video. It was a little long, and stay blessed till you see me next time.